I think this is our first actual argument as a dog and trainer team. Moira has shown great progress on heel. Nice looking heel there, huh? I feel like today we've had the single biggest breakthrough of our entire journey. This is Moira, and I'm Zach George. Moira, the German Shepherd dog, is looking for a home, and I've only got 2 weeks to teach her how to behave so that someone will be willing to adopt her. Okay, we have a situation, and as you can see, it's not going to be easy. If that was a dog, she would be like, I'm not paying attention to you, I'm paying attention to that. I will train this dog. Shake, yes, much better. Look at me, is she getting trained? This is reality dog training. I only have a little bit more time with Moira, so my efforts are gonna be really concentrated with my remaining time and getting her responsive and comfortable and obedient in the real world. But in all seriousness, remember, it can take a year or more to actually really train a dog. That's because there's no way to give your dog life experience in a short period of time that prepares them for the multitude of different situations in which you expect them to listen to you. Trying to remember exactly what to focus on each month with your dog over that first year or so can be a lot to handle, and that's where Pup Box comes in. What makes Pup Box different from other boxes is their emphasis on training your dog, getting them to listen to you. So with Pup Box, you don't just get toys and treats, you get general supplies along with toys and treats, and this surprisingly detailed training card, both front and back, to keep your training on track. This has got to be the most perfect toy for Moira that has ever been created. Look at that. As a trainer, I really count on a dog being interested in a currency when I'm training. And nothing gets a dog interested in training like a brand new toy. Oh boy, look at this, a Becco bone. So it's like a fetch bone, but you can put treats in here just to make it a little more engaging for your dog. Nice and flexible. She's instantly into just everything. Here's some oral care gel for her brand new German Shepherd teeth. And we get some more dental care chews here, which are great. Oh, look at this, chicken and sweet potato chews. I've never seen anything like this before. So it looks like we've got everything we need for today's lesson and more. Especially those of you with a brand new puppy under a year old, Pup Box can make a huge difference. And all of you can get 50% off of your first Pup Box by going to pupbox.com/Zach and using coupon code Zach when you sign up for a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. That's a great deal. I'll have a link below. So we have the advantage here of being able to play with Moira while we have dogs walk by in the distance back here, and I'm hoping that's gonna make a little bit of a difference with her. In other words, get her behaving normally with dogs relatively nearby. I'm just gonna try and keep her engaged in this game. She's just spotted the dog. Good, go. Nice work, girl. Good. Come here. She's looking at the dog. Dog's barking at her. Come on. I'm willing to make compromises by not expecting Moira to bring the ball back to me perfectly in order to keep her focus on me and the game. It's hard to resist a barking dog, I understand. She's running around from excitement. Let me see if I can get her back on the ball. There we go. I'm not insisting on perfection. I'm just trying to get her attention loosely on me right now because we know she's really excited. You can hear the dog barking still there. She's still excited about the dog, but she's still picking that ball up. So it's a really effective currency. And even though she's in and out right now, they're in and out before they're all in. This is the kind of thing I'm hoping to continue to get improvement on in my last few days. Moira! Ready? Good. Called her off a dog for the ball there. And albeit, you know, we have to be about 100 yards away or so, but that's fine for now. That's where you start. And that's the goal of this series, to give you realistic places to start, not to try and make me look good like I can train a dog like a wizard, but to really just show you the actual steps I go through to try to get a dog compliant over a more extended period of time. We're about to go on a hybrid walk out here, which is basically a free walk and a training walk mixed together. I'll explain that in more detail in a minute, but she has to know how to stay at this gate as we've gone over before, so I just want to see if she's shown any improvement. Here. Let it go slow. Anytime I'm presented with a door, a gate, or some kind of barrier like this, I love to practice stay at those specific locations. If you do this 15 to 30 seconds at a time during the first year of training at virtually every door you encounter with your dog, they're far more likely to generalize this skill, and it's an important one. As you keep practicing this, you'll eventually notice your dog starts looking up to you as if to say, hey, are we allowed to go out of this or what? And that's a wonderful thing. So she's earned a nice little sniff break, and that's exactly how I plan to start my walk. Stay. Here. Okay, good girl. And it looks like they're maintaining the levee out here. So you can imagine all of the smells kicked up from that, which matters when you're training a dog. Dogs are made to consistently be processing the smells of their environment. I want to hit this point really hard here just to make it crystal clear. Let your dog adjust to new environments before you start training them. This is extra important the more inexperienced they are with training. Hey, good girl, Moira. You're behaving like such a good dog right now. Look at that. When your dog does that in a public environment, count your blessings, especially when they're an energetic one like this one. Does that look like a dog who is on edge, ready to bark and lunge at something? Or does that look like a dog who's like, cool, I'm enjoying myself on this beautiful day? I mean, she's alert, she's looking at things, but look how relaxed she is. I'm gonna learn from my mistake yesterday and immediately create distance and not wait. So we got a dog in the distance there. Dog playing fetch, as a matter of fact. Very exciting dog. I'm also using a 10-foot lead out here today. This is a really nice length for a walk like this with a dog like this. I didn't want to quite go with the 50-foot lead. I figured that was a little too much freedom in the event that she did react to a dog. Moira, here, come on. Let go. That's a dead fish. Let go. Good girl. Hey, here you go. Sit. She actually let go. Okay, let's get away from that fish. Right here, I'm just hoping that she'll zone out a little bit and be really content in her environment. Moira, here. Yes. And so, beautiful, good girl. I just love how she came to me right there. She was pulling, I called her one time. She was like, okay, now I'm gonna let her be free again. So this is how we're phasing in, teaching them to come to us in the real world when their mind is truly elsewhere, when they are focused on other things. Let's see. Hey, Moira, come here. Yes, good girl. Getting low like that, if you can, to try and bridge that eye contact can be really helpful as well. Using body language like that, dogs seem really responsive to that. I mean, of course, ultimately you want them to understand what our words mean too, but it's a good idea just to be ultra clear and have many ways to communicate with your dog. And so I'm very pleased with how she's behaving right now. You might remember, in contrast with our past series with Kona the puppy, we were going downtown, we were going to the French Quarter and lots of more populated areas, but that's because Kona reacted differently in those types of settings. Here, we're in a big open field with only some distractions from time to time. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can solidify our communication without all the distractions. See, when your dog is overwhelmed, you can't really expect them to retain and understand new concepts when they're in that state of mind. That's why we have to be very careful about the environments in which we train our dogs. Moira, here, let's go this way. And this time, I'm not going to reward her with food. I'm just gonna let her continue to check out the environment, which is also very gratifying to her. I don't think she's disappointed that we're changing directions, She is enjoying smelling the ground and watching the runners and bikes and everything else out here. Okay, let's go back this way, girl. Come on. Yes. I like how she came up there. It's almost as if she was saying, hey, can I get a treat now? I'm happy to give it to her right now. Moira. Here. I'm going for heel. Yes. There's no doubt that it must be more challenging for her out here in this environment versus the backyard or versus inside the living room. Here. Yes. Moira has shown great progress on heel, and we've been working on it for only a few days, so I'm still rapidly rewarding her with small, high-quality treats for every step or two while she's in the right position when we first start our lessons. Yes. Here. And with Moira, once it clicks, it clicks. I mean, what fantastic attention she's offering here. Remember, Moira was totally incapable of giving me even the tiniest bit of her attention in this kind of environment not that long ago. Yes. Okay, good job. Nice looking heel there, huh? See how her turn is looking. Gotta do the turn slow. She's getting it. Ultimately, we want to be able to get this on cue every time rather than when she's just in the mood to do it. But we can help by getting her in the mood to want to walk like this more often too. So I couldn't be happier with how well her heel work is doing out here. Slowing down. Look at that. Look at how dialed in she is. Here. Now, after that, I'm not going to insist that she heel for the next 15 minutes and use all of that mental capacity. There's more stuff I want to work on with her. So I'm going to let her recover now, take a break, and enjoy her environment. You see how we're consistently taking breaks and trying to be fair to her to let her have some fun as well? So here's another German Shepherd dog coming up, and it looks like Moira is getting pretty aroused. So I'm going to get down and hold her harness to make sure I keep control of her. My goal is to keep her under threshold here. So if you couldn't pick up your dog, another thing you could do is perhaps hold them like this, just to really secure them so they don't wear you out. I mean, I understand how it is with a strong dog. Stay. So here, I mean, she's excited. She's still semi-stable. Stay. This is a really good example of trying to work just under Moira's threshold. Definitely borderline though, but as you can see, she's really on the edge of being able to contain her excitement and listen to me instead. This is what training on the edge of your dog's working distance looks like. This is the root of reactivity training. Find your dog's working distance. Practice right there where you're just able to get their attention, and over time, that distance will get shorter and shorter. We've obviously still got some work to do, but we're starting to see the light bulb go off more and more with Moira. Definitely trending in the right direction. And to be clear, my goal isn't to solve reactivity outright in 2 weeks. My goal is to make it easier to call her off of other dogs in this type of situation so that her new home can use that foundation to keep working on this moving forward. I see a dog in the distance here, so I'm gonna preemptively create some distance to avoid an all-out reaction from her. She's noticed the dog. Yes, here. Very nice reaction there. She is looking at the dog, but not in a way like it's, I have to get to you right now. As this dog gets closer, I'm gonna start to draw on a lot of these skills that we have taught her. I wanna get her mind onto training, paying attention to me. So at first I'll call her, but calling her over and over again is likely to get boring to her. So I'm gonna ask her not only to do her basic skills, let me see if I can get her to do something like shake or maybe do bow. Yes. Yes. The goal isn't necessarily to put on a spontaneous performance and display Moira's tricks to the world. The goal is to give her practice paying attention to me in a variety of different ways while doing a variety of different tasks in this moderately challenging situation for her. The point is she's focusing on me, listening to me here, and sure, I'm giving her a lot of motivation. We're using great treats. I'm trying to make it as fun as possible, but that's how you do it in the beginning. This has been a really good success for her. I mean, we're still at a pretty good distance, but as recently as yesterday, this would have proven too close for her. Looks like we've got another dog coming up as well. There was a bit of a conflict in my mind. Like, I just gave her some pretty intense training mentally, having to really focus on me with that other dog. And if I just keep doing that over and over again, she's likely to burn out. I'm hoping that we can just keep our distance here, let the dog pass at this significant distance, and maybe she'll feel content to just keep walking with me. Maybe I'm being optimistic. Here. So here's an example of using a moderate amount of leash pressure. I gently pulled the leash in my direction while she was still under threshold to help her hear my request for attention. Now, this is a far cry from popping the leash as a harsh punishment for not paying attention to me. Nonetheless, this is still technically a physical correction, and I want to be completely transparent about that. I use the same logic here that I would use when taking a child by the hand if they're a little too distracted and I need to get their attention. In the moment, I consider this the least aversive method that was likely to be effective. I'm having to really give her 150% of my attention when I'm working with her in this situation. And she's acknowledging the dog, but I am able to get her to consistently pay attention to me and remain under her threshold, which I think is so important. Okay, this way, come on. Real tough here. Moira. Yes, good job. Well done. So I haven't seen an all-out reaction to another dog today, which is huge news because in pretty much every training scenario I've had in an environment where there are dogs, I've had some kind of outburst with her. And so today we came close to an outburst, but we didn't have one, thankfully. Fingers crossed we can get home now. I mean, I would do this every day as needed until I saw improvement. It could be anywhere between 30 days, 90 days, could be up to a couple of years with some dogs, depending on what their background is. Moira has developed a habit of begging for food and even jumping up on the table to invest. I mean, Moira, come here, let's go. We keep our dogs on leash for that very reason, so we do have control over them. Stay. Generally, when we do catch a relapse, we have both been trying to redirect her, show her what we prefer to do instead. But today we're adding difficulty to it by having food right here. Before we can let her off leash, I want to know that if I put down a piece of chicken like this, that she's going to know to leave it alone if we ask her to. You can see that Moira was very rudely asking for food just now. We were all set to film this scene, but then Moira started acting like this. And I could tell this lesson was not going to work with her in this current mental state. You can see how she's amped up, chewing the leash, trying to get me to play. That's my cue to give her some exercise right now. She's not yet ready for this subtle lesson. until I get that excess energy out of her. And it's not just about the physical energy here, it's about stimulating her mentally. So by throwing in some heel training along with her fetch, not only am I getting some extra training in on that very challenging skill, but I'm also getting some extra bang for my buck because I'm getting her satisfied mentally in addition to physically. Really nice heel for the ball there. Hey, look at this. She sees a crow at close range. Let me see if I can call her off the crow. See how she's fixated? Moira, here, come. Yes, go. I mean, that's why we want to get our dogs really into a toy if we can. It's not as though she's completely tuned the crow out. I mean, you can see she has the ball, she brings it back. Okay, yes. But she's also happy to oblige in a game of fetch too. Today, her impulse control has been noticeably better than just yesterday and the day before, but I fully understand if there's a relapse or if she takes a step back, because dogs do that too. And it's not as though you'll have to do this every time you want your dog to settle down, but when you're introducing a concept, you want to do it in a real deliberate way. And if I can predictably get her to calm down a little bit by getting her freshly exercised, it's my view that that will expedite the training process. Okay, back in the house. Let's see if we can actually make some progress on Moira's stop begging and settle down training. I'm gonna let her just pace. I bet she's gonna find a cold spot and lie down. At which time, what do you think I'm going to say? I'm gonna say settle, relax. I like to have a couple of different words for it, but I think she'll understand. The way to teach your dog a settle though, is to teach it in context. You're not rewarding or acknowledging a specific physical position like a lie down. You're acknowledging a state of mind, a calm, relaxed state of mind. Keep in mind that for dogs, begging for food is extremely natural, and we can't rule out the fact that she's been reinforced with this in the past. Notice I'm not using food for this particular training session. I'm really relying on the fact that she understands a broad generalized leave it, at least a broad generalized leave it inside like this. We've been working on that with Moira since she's been with us. This isn't something you would want to do on day one with a new dog because you really want to have some pretty good existing communication in place first. No ma'am, you're not going to get this. This is not for you. This is to tempt you. It's a trap. But you're doing really well. This is a fantastic moment of a pretty significant disagreement between Moira and I. I think this is our first actual argument as a dog and trainer team. To me, at this moment, Moira appears to really understand that I want her to not eat that chicken, but she wants me to understand that she would rather eat that chicken. So we're gonna have to work through this. And you can't have it, really. No, I'm sorry. Here, come on, over here, leave it, come. Nope, come. Good girl. Yes. Sit. Since she's so fixated, I'm gonna give her something else to do. So let me bring her over here. And look at that. That got her mind right off of the chicken. Sit. Down. This is from our pup box, and toys like this that keep their attention can be awesome for training just like this. Like all good relationships, oftentimes compromise is required. She's in her own world. This is really what settle is about. Relax, do your own thing, and just chill out. Oh, good girl, you're doing a good job. Settle. This toy's pretty cool here. It's kind of a challenge to pull those out of there. And the chicken's right there, and she's focused on this, so I'm happy about that. So when your dog is relaxing like this, teach them the word settle or relax or anything else you want to say to them. Settle. This is a really good example of capturing a behavior happening naturally and putting a word to the action. It's the kind of thing that happens somewhat gradually, but then you realize, like, my goodness, my dog is really catching on to this concept. Isn't that amazing that we can communicate to our dogs to achieve a very specific state of mind? I'm gonna remind her that the chicken's here just to really reinforce, leave it alone. Hey, nice job, you see that? Leave it alone. So your challenge as a teacher is to be there and really be in tune with your dog. So as they start to relax, you're there to communicate to them what they're doing, when they do it, in that very specific context. So we'll continue to work on this with her and hopefully keep her on the right track. A little bit later, we were outside and something really significant happened with Moira. We were just shooting some photos with Moira, and both of us noticed, holy cow, there's a dog coming, and we know how delicate she can be with dogs. So I quickly escorted her down here, and a beautiful thing happened. I was able to keep her attention almost exclusively on the ball, playing fetch with that dog at by her standards, extremely close range. She still showed a lot of interest, but I was able to get her back, which was the really encouraging thing to me. I feel like I'm able to channel that desire to play into a game of fetch to really keep her satisfied. It's kind of like, fine, I'll let you play, but let's do this instead. And she's starting to be open-minded to that.
Uh-oh. Okay, yes.
There you go. Come on, this way. Here. Come on. Ready? Sit. Look at me. Stay. Okay, good. Very aware of the dogs too. Let go. Good girl. Come on. Easy. Good girl. Here. This way. Come on.
Did you hear one growl at her?
No.
It did.
Oh wow. Good girl. Here. I'm so proud of her. I mean, truly, she's exceeded my expectations, honestly. I feel like today we've had the single biggest breakthrough of our entire journey. I've never been able to get her to pay attention to me around dogs at all, even with a toy or with treats or anything. So in hindsight, it really appears that building her desire and interest in certain toys has proven to be a really effective training strategy with her. I think that's the secret with higher energy dogs. When we were doing the lesson earlier with her on leaving the chicken alone and teaching her to relax, she was getting a little wild there. But even that to me was like, oh my gosh. Once she decides to break through, she just breaks through and gets it. So I was really proud of her, like super proud of her, more proud of her than I've ever been throughout this entire journey with her. So I feel good. Episode 11 is going to be very interesting. Get 50% off of your first Pup Box when you sign up for a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription by going to pupbox.com/Zach and using discount code ZACH. Subscribe to this channel, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and even Facebook. Get a copy of both of my books too. I will have all of the links in the description below. See you next time.